According to the Israeli Defense Forces, several rockets were fired from southern Lebanon into northern Israel, around the area of Nahariya and other places such as that in the western Galilee. What we know from the IDF is that 2 Israeli civilians were slightly wounded. The Israeli Homeland Security has called for all people to stay close to their shelters. They've closed down schools and kindergartens for the day, and they have returned fire, as they do now every time a rocket comes in. They return fire to what they believe to be the point of origin with their own Israeli artillery. So that's what we know. We believe, certainly from the IDF, that it's too close and too soon to start saying that this is a second front. It's not clear why this happened or indeed who did this. They're not yet saying Hezbollah or anything else. There may be other groups in that southern Lebanon area, but we're waiting to see those details. And this, of course, does come at a time when there's been overnight intensification in some parts of the Israeli ground and air incursion into the Gaza area. There was quite a lot of heavy fighting overnight over the last several hours in the pre-dawn hours in the Beit Hanun area, which is north of Gaza. And this, again, all happens as the parties are moving towards a ceasefire, one that's being presented by Egypt and France, the United States also working on it. And that today, Thursday, here in Israel, the Israelis were sending a 2-man delegation to Cairo, Egypt, to work on this ceasefire. And the Egyptians also talking with the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, the president, and also meeting with Hamas delegations and representatives. So this is coming at a rather critical time in this particular conflict. Max?
Christian, just explain to us the concern about being too rash in saying this was Hezbollah, because there are all sorts of groups based in southern Lebanon, and whilst it would of course be extremely significant if Hezbollah got involved at this point, we can't make those sort of assumptions before we even know the facts.
Well, that's right. I'm sure people will start getting word and perhaps it'll become clearer later on during the day. But of course it's relevant if it gets worse than this, because Israel has made it clear when it announced its ground incursion, which was last Sunday. The defense secretary or defense minister here, Ehud Barak, specifically sent word in his public statement that they had no hostile intention or no intention of getting engaged on their northern front. And for the last 12, 13, 14 days since this air and ground assault has been on from Israel into Gaza, there has been no response from either Hezbollah or anybody else in that southern Lebanon region. Obviously, the head of Hezbollah, Sheikh Nasrallah, he has been giving periodic and frequent fiery speeches from his bunker area in Beirut, speeches against the Israeli incursion into Hamas. And obviously, there is a sense throughout the Islamic world that there is a sense of solidarity with what's happening to the Palestinians in Gaza. But it's way too soon to call this a second front, and unclear exactly why this is happening now, only to say that it does coincide with the ceasefire talks that seem to be gaining momentum and are eventually to get underway in Cairo.